Hello and welcome to FDT-TV. We are back. We hope you have had a good Christmas and New Year. Apologies, we've had a bit of a break due to various bits and pieces, but we are back with a bang. It's a new year. It's a new us. I'm sure we've said this every year, but we are back. We are back. How you doing, Ian? You all good?
I am good. I'm a little bit less beardy, a little bit more rotund around the middle, but other than that, I am spiffing.
Excellent, excellent.
I'm spiffing.
So yes, we are currently in a bit of a footballing break as it stands at the moment. Obviously, we have had the mad Christmas rush, and obviously a couple of games within this year already. Obviously, we've got the relevant cup matches. We had the FA Cup. We've got the Carabao Cup, I believe, this week, and then a week off, and then we are back into the Premier League again. I think we should obviously start off with because I don't think we've done one since Christmas or since before Christmas. So there's been a few games that have gone on since then. We obviously lost against you guys. I'm going to skirt over that very quickly. And then we had the
That's why
FA.
we stopped, yeah.
Sorry,
I think that's why we stopped.
it was yeah. I said I was busy or I had a headache or something, but. No, it's first of all, let's just very quickly talk about that game. We are just the gift that keeps on giving, I think, especially when it comes to Christmas. Like, I think it was Boxing Day or day after Boxing Day, and we were fucking shocking in that game. I think we started well for the first 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah, you did what you did a couple of seasons ago when you started giving away draws and stuff. He's for the first 15 minutes we didn't touch the ball. You couldn't finish your dinner.
No.
And then all of a sudden it was like, right, okay, job done. And then Mavropanos come back and bosh.
Yep. Mavropanos.
Was it Kudus as well?
He got the third, and I want to say JWP.
It was 2-0, wasn't it?
No, it's 3-0.
Was it? I watched the game. This is how bad it is that.
Yes, it was. I'm pretty sure it was 3-0. I think. Or was it James? No, I'm pretty sure it was 3-0. Hang on, you made me doubt myself now.
Don't know. But anyway, while Mike's looking it up, I do have a joke for you. What do you get if you mix a Premier League footballer and a florist together?
Got him.
Nottingham Florist.
Hey. Sorry, I even got the scorers wrong and the score wrong. So it was 2-0. Souček and Mavropanos got the goals. Yeah, and I think that was the game against Liverpool. We started that game so well for a good.
Is this FA Cup?
No, this was in the league.
Oh right.
I think we defended really well because there were points where Liverpool were coming at us. We kind of weathered the storm, scored very quickly, and I thought, yes, we're going to press on because I think we'd had about 4 or 5 chances in the first 10-15 minutes. Liverpool obviously equalised around about the 30-minute mark, and then it was a bit of a dead rubber game after that. Well, I say dead rubber game. Liverpool were kind of hounding us in the second half, and I think we did well to hang on, but I think that was the start of the downfall for us. Obviously, Kai Havertz got booked, which took him up to his 5 games, so he missed the game against West Ham. And we were dreadful from then onwards. We then played Fulham, got battered by Fulham after going 1-0 up, and then moving on to Liverpool in the FA Cup. Again, I don't know how we can have so many chances and not score.
Not having an out-and-out striker.
Well, it doesn't help that obviously he got injured for the game against Liverpool. There was a bit of squad rotation as well, and I think Arteta mentioned something about going off to Dubai for some warm weather training, and a chance for the players to kind of recuperate after obviously what was quite an intense December fixture list. But the thing is so frustrating, worryingly, the stats that come out of that, I think we've had 61 or 62 shots on goal and only scored 1 goal. That's worrying. That is worrying. But we've been told.
Oh, it's all contenders.
Yeah. That and we've been told as well that the purse strings are pretty tight for this month as well. So unless we get a few players on the books, off the books, sorry, we could be struggling.
The one I can't get my head around is Nketiah. So he's not really playing. He's not. He's on the fringes of the squad, has been for a little while now, a couple of seasons, and it's like, okay, you can go. West Ham have been interested in him. Everton have been interested in him. Crystal Palace have been interested in him. And you've slapped a £40 million price tag on him. No one's going to pay that. I know it's January and you have to pay the odds. He's not a £40 million player.
Oh, even with the inflated
market. No, 30, 40. I've read 40. But it's just, you're not going to get that out of Everton, West Ham and Crystal Palace. When they're your only bidders, you've sort of got to take what you can get.
Yeah.
I think if they said, £15 million with 10 million worth of add-ons, you'd probably sell him. But you're not going to get that astronomical fee. It's just not going to happen.
No. And he's getting something stupid like £110,000 a week.
Yep.
That's crazy. I mean, I know when he signed his new contract, he did obviously have big shoes to fill with Jesus getting injured. But that's I think, to be honest, I think 25 mil with 5 mil add-ons, I think is reasonable. It's pushing it, but it's fairly reasonable for an English striker who has scored goals.
I don't think he's a bad player. I don't think he's European quality.
Nope.
In terms of if you want to be playing in Europa League and Champions League, I don't think he's quite that quality. So I think for us, it would just be a striker in the door that doesn't generally get injured that much, as far as I know.
Yep.
I think he's more suited to Crystal Palace. I think he would thrive there. It's a sort of place that I think he would do well at. But it's a hard one. The only other thing I did read it, which I thought was positive, was apparently within the Declan Rice deal, there is a clause written in that essentially, if Emile Smith-Rowe leaves or gets sold, we get first dibs.
That's not bad.
I would love him. I think we're overrun with wingers at the minute, but I think he'd be a great addition.
And good because he can play that number 10 role as well.
I mean, yeah. So we're I don't know what's going on at West Ham. Ben Rama looks like he's going. Agard looks like he's going. We need a striker because Danny Ings is well past it, and Barmer isn't ready. Antonio's out injured. We've got a huge injury list again.
Yeah, I just heard that Paquetá's out for
2 months.
Yeah.
Jared Bowen's out for at least a month. Kudus is at Africa Cup of Nations. We're in dire straits at the minute. But we'll get onto that in a minute, because I think what we need to push on really is the FA Cup. Everyone loves the FA Cup. The beauty of the FA Cup. There was a big game in the third round, which was Arsenal-Liverpool, and I think every eyes are on that match, particularly just because two of the sort of odds-on favourites to go on and win it, one of them were going out. So give us a brief recap before I get on to Bristol City.
Okay, so again, it started off the game really brightly. Obviously, we got quite frustrated in the game in the Premier League. We've off the back of 2 defeats to West Ham and Fulham. We had a bit of a point to prove. Obviously, we have had a few injuries ourselves, but we started the game so strongly. So strongly. I don't think I've seen a quicker start. Reece Nelson came in for Martinelli, who's not been on form this year, and Ramsdale in for David Raya, put in an absolute peach of a ball over the top. Reece Nelson was running onto it. Granted, it was a little bit over his head, but what really frustrated me is that he ran it down to the byline with the slightest of angles and decided he was going to try and shoot.
Yep.
When you could see, I think it was Bukayo Saka and Kai Havertz were waiting in the box in open spaces with what's his name, Alisson had been obviously drawn towards Reece Nelson could have I'll say simple cutback for what looked a simple cutback. Tried to take the shot on himself and fluffed it. We absolutely peppered the goal in the first half. Absolutely peppered. I think we'd had something like 15 or 16 shots to their 1 or 2. But we just couldn't. It's been the same story of the last 3 games, that we just couldn't find the net, which was extremely frustrating. Obviously, come out in the second half. Liverpool started the half a little bit stronger, but the warning signs were there. They'd had a couple of shots, and we just didn't deal with it. We kind of pushed back into the game for another 5-10 minutes, but then Liverpool just started to dominate us. They got a free kick. A corner. No, it was a free kick. Or was it a corner? A set piece. Ball come over the top, and Jacob Kivior headed it into the goal, and I think our heads dropped massively at that point. And then we conceded a second right towards the very end when we were looking to kind of get back into the game, and the game was done. And I don't think I've been so angry with a match in a long while. So for 3 years, I think that has been one of the most frustrating games. And it was one of those ones I was even pissed off with the fact that it took... Granted, we did see a substitution of Martinelli come on, who kind of changed the game for us when he did come on around about 60 odd minutes. But then Arteta didn't make any substitution until the 87th minute. How the fuck are you supposed to impact a game with 3 minutes to go? It's not going to happen. Really not going to happen. So I come away extremely frustrated at that game, and I'm glad that we've got the break so we can kind of recuperate and get our heads back into the game, because we've got a massive push now. We've got no excuses. We've got no cup football other than the Champions League, but the main focus I think should be getting back towards the top of the table. And we've got Crystal Palace as our next game when we get to the Premier League.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that Reece Nelson, I mean, he's a good player. I don't think there's any doubt of that. He tends to be a player that thrives once he's had a bit of a run in the squad. Mm-hmm. Do you think he's suffering from that sort of Carl Jenkinson effect, as I call it, within the Arsenal squad, where you don't get opportunities that often, and when you do, you try so hard to impress and to overdo it that actually you end up doing worse than what you would have done had you just played a normal game and passed the ball off where you should have?
Yeah, quite possibly. It's I mean, there were points he looked to be running around like a headless chicken, but then there were points he did look really good. I mean, don't get me wrong, Liverpool's defence was solid that day, but we could have played for another hour. I don't think we would have scored. Same against you, same against Fulham again.
It's been evident in a few games now, isn't it?
But like you said just a moment ago, we are crying for an out-and-out striker. There's obviously talks about Ivan Toney, but he's already come out to say that he wants to repay Brentford for obviously supporting him through his ban. To be honest, I've tried not to get dragged into the transfer rumours and stuff like that at the moment. I've seen one about Benzema possibly coming to us and a few others, but I can't see that happening. But I don't know where the goals are going to come from at the moment. I don't know, that sounds quite pessimistic, quite defeatist, because we've scored an ample amount of goals already this season, and I'm hoping, like I said, with the break, it gives us a chance to kind of like clear our heads, get back into it and focus. Like I said, we're out there, the cup competitions now, so we've got no excuses. There's no additional games other than what's already in front of us. So, yeah, we'll see what happens.
Fair enough. We'll move on briefly to Bristol City versus West Ham. Actually went to the game, took the kids to their first proper full West Ham game, which was good. It was freezing. There was lots of stairs. And we were good for about 6 minutes. That's probably all I've got to say. I mean, Paqueta came back. I mean, I anticipated him being out for a while because he missed the Brighton game with a hamstring injury. And then all of a sudden he was starting again. You think, well, hang on a minute here. Was he not that injured, or was it just a bit of a knock? But he got an assist and then went off within the first 10 minutes. And after that, we sort of fell flat, which was not ideal. I have to say, Bristol City, the fans were phenomenal. They were noisy. There was a lot of them, though, more away fans than I've ever seen before. But they were loud. They were going for it. They were singing, jumping, have it. And then they dominated us. I mean, for 15 minutes, I would say, let's be fair, we looked like a prime Barcelona. Passing in tight little triangles, one touch pass, you think, hey, this is what we should be playing. We've got the players to do that. And then all of a sudden, it just didn't happen. And they dominated us. A bit like Brighton did, they dominated us. We couldn't get the ball. Second half, we couldn't get the ball. They got a goal back. And then we go to Ashton Gate on Tuesday week, I think. I don't hold up how much hope for winning that game with the injuries we've got, with the players we've got away. And going there, it's going to be a noisy occasion. But we've got to turn some of this defence into attack. I would rather run at teams and have a good go and put in a load of effort and lose 2-0 every week than I would watch us sit for 90 minutes getting peppered, hoping we don't concede. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, it's frustrating because we beat you that way on the counter-attack. We beat Manchester United that way. We got a draw against Brighton. And you're like, the days we can't do it, we lose 5-0 to Fulham. We lose 5-0 to Liverpool. It's just demoralising. You go, oh, the stat comes up 20 minutes in. You go, oh, West Ham have had 38 passes completed. Oh, the other team's had 1,000. Oh, great. Okay. There's another game like that. I mean, Mourinho's out of contract in the summer. I wouldn't say no, if I'm honest.
You'd imagine he was working his way around all the London clubs.
But do you know what? We've got a good attacking lineup. We've not got a good defence. Kurt Zouma, he's good. He's 36. A lot of West Ham fans really like him. I don't rate him. But that's it. I mean, we're looking at apparently buying Chalobah from Chelsea, which I wouldn't mind. I think it's a decent option. It's quite versatile. Play left back, right back, defensive midfield, and centre back. But then you go, okay, well, you got Fabianski who's on the way out. You've got Nipples, as I call him. What's his name? Areola. We've got him, and don't get me wrong, I like him. He's a good shot stopper. But he's 32, so okay, it's not necessarily old for a goalkeeper. But then after that, you go down to 20 years old, 21 years old, and the players that we've got, the one that I thought was going to take over, Nathan Trott, I don't think will. I think he'll end up elsewhere. But then you go, we haven't got a goalkeeper. We still haven't got a decent striker. Antonio's not fit. Danny Ings just doesn't seem to care. Jared Bowen is now playing as our main striker. What's that about? He's a winger. And you can't lump all your eggs in that basket and go, oh, he's going to score all of our goals, because that's not fair. Kudus has come in. Credit to him, and been phenomenal. But yeah, I don't know what's going on at West Ham. Really don't know. But we could get into the FA Cup fourth round, where we would play either Blackpool or Nottingham Forest. And I hope that we do, because I think if Nottingham Forest can get through that game, I think we win that one. But I just don't think we get past Bristol.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see West Ham go on a bit of a cup run. There are still some very good teams left in the competition. But I think given the day, you guys have shown that you guys can pull out a top performance. Obviously, knocked us off the park, battered us, bruised us. And that was probably one of the points where we were at our highest in terms of spirit, and we come slack back down to reality. So you guys can do it, and obviously with winning the
Conference League.
Yeah, the Conference League last year, you guys have obviously proved that you can go on a bit of a cup run. But just looking at the draws for the fourth round, so you've got Watford versus Southampton, Blackburn Rovers versus Wrexham, AFC Bournemouth versus Swansea, West Brom versus Brentford or Wolves, West Ham versus Bristol, as you've just mentioned, Leicester City versus either Hull or Birmingham, Sheffield Wednesday versus Coventry, Chelsea Villa, Ipswich Maidstone, Liverpool versus either Norwich or Bristol City. Bristol Rovers. God, they'll fucking kill me. Spurs versus Man City, which I think is kind of like the.
I think that and the Aston Villa Liverpool one, I think are the big games. They're another. You'd say probably looking at all the teams, they're the ones that are now favourite, and two of them going out.
Yep. Let's hope it's Spurs go out. Leeds versus Plymouth, Crystal Palace versus Everton. Crystal Palace or Everton versus Luton Town or Bolton, Newport County or Eastleigh versus Man United, Sheffield United versus Brighton, and then Fulham versus Newcastle. So there are still some biggies within that, but there's also a lot of chaff in there as well. And obviously, if you do manage to get that through, I would fancy you either against Nottingham Forest or Blackpool, without a shadow of a doubt. And then obviously it's going to be the luck of the draw next. You watch, you'll get drawn someone like Man City or someone.
we beat Man City in cup competition before when they were on that roll of Carabao Cup. We're the ones that beat them. No one else could for like 3 years, and we beat them. Didn't win it after that. Threw it away in the next round of a draw that we should have won. But here's the thing. What you said about hopefully Spurs lose, I don't think they will. They've just signed Timo Werner on loan. Chelsea, my dad's a Chelsea fan. He was laughing, saying what a load of guff that is. I went, nah, I think you utilised him wrong. He likes running at people. He likes chasing the ball over the top. You never let him do that. How are Spurs playing at the minute? Attack, attack, attack. Just run at them.
And they've got that Dragic in as well.
Yes, and that's it. Here's a stat for you, Mike. Well, actually, it's a bit of a quiz question. So if you know the answers before I reveal them, put them in the comment section below. There are two players who have been dribbled past less than Spurs' new centre-back, who's turned down Bayern Munich. Who are they? They are both Premier League players. And that's within this season.
I haven't a clue. Eric Dyer.
Number one is the best centre-back ever to grace the Premier League in Virgil van Dijk. That's a little inside joke because he's not, but Liverpool fans will say he is. And the other one is actually an Arsenal player, William Saliba. So the only two players in the top 5 leagues that have been dribbled past less than this new Spurs guy. I think you get him, Romero back. That's a decent. Certainly going to come out a few bumps and bruises by the end of it. And then they've got, what is it, Van der Ven, is it? Or is he the Brighton one? They've got another one who looks like a decent player, but he's out injured, a centre-back. So, I mean, I did predict it when they signed that and just said it won't be this year, but next year. And I think...
Could be this year.
I think that's a step too far. But, right, there is a big competition going on other than the FA Cup, Mike. I don't know if you've heard of it. I was going to sing the World Cup song from a couple of years ago, but I'm not going to. Waka waka hey hey. The Africa Cup of Nations is on.
Scores again. No, not that one.
That is that one. But it's between, I think it's the 13th of January and the 25th of February, something like that. Is the Africa Cup of Nations. It's essentially the Euros, but for Africa, and they play it in January, which is really not helpful to any other league around the world. Well, although some of them have a winter break, don't they? So
yeah,
chops and changes. But what that does mean is there are Premier League players who are leaving to go to the Africa Cup of Nations. There is a big list. TalkSport have got a quite comprehensive list. Sky have, but it's wrong.
Have they posted the Euros?
The TalkSport one has got one mistake on it, but we'll leave that because he was a dead cert, but he's on the backup list allegedly. So I think that's why they've included him. But I think we need to look at a couple of squads as to who is going to be the most affected. Now, I've put it down to two teams realistically that are going to be the most affected. One of them being Brentford, with Frank Onyeka, Brian Mbamo, and Wissa all going. I think although Ivan Toney's due to come back, I think that takes away a lot of their attacking force.
Mm-hmm.
And Nottingham Forest is about 3/4 of the team are going. Serge Aurier, Willy Bolly, Sangria, Ngati, Kiarte, Awani, and Oli Anya are all off. And I think I did pretty well with the pronunciations.
You did very well there. I was kind of taken aback of it.
I mean, there are teams or players going from every team, I believe. Obviously, Salah's going for Egypt. From there, the big one for Manchester United is their goalkeeper Nana.
You'll actually see them. You'll see them improve now he's gone.
Well, that's what Manchester United fans are saying. And he's actually got the second most clean sheets this season, which surprises me.
That does surprise me.
But I mean, like, some of them, you go, oh, okay. I mean, like West Ham, Kudus is our big one that's gone. That's not going to help. Everton have got just a Ghana Gaze going. I don't really know who else is really going to. You've got Partey and El Neni allegedly.
Are they going?
Allegedly. But I don't think that's going to be a huge miss necessarily. El Neni's very much a bit part player now, and Partey's been injured.
Yes, yeah, that's why I sounded a little bit confused, because he is just coming back from an injury. So unless it's going to be one of these ones where he's just kind of travelling with the squad and maybe see a little bit of a performance, because I think he only just got back into first team training.
Yeah,
just after Christmas.
The list that's on TalkSport, I think they're putting up ones that have been, because I mean they've put on that Said Ben Rama's and Maxwell Cornet are going. Both of them, I know Ben Rama's not, but he's allegedly on the backup list, and that's the same with Cornet. So it could, it's not comprehensive enough to be able to say definitely, even though the squad, as a big news reporting site, you would have thought they would have got it right. But that's the reason I think they've included them. So it's hard to say. I mean, it's being held in the Ivory Coast. You have to say, usually it's between Nigeria, Ivory Coast, and Ghana to win it. I like the Nigeria squad at the minute. That I think it's a beast of a squad. That's going to be there. So that's my pick, if I'm totally honest, to win it. I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
I'm just having a look on the interweb right this very second, just looking at some of the teams in there, and some of those players which you've already mentioned, you forget that they do go off and do this competition, and how key and instrumental they're going to be for their clubs in order to miss them, but also how vital they'll be for their nation. But yeah, there's some phenomenal teams in there. You've got the likes of Senegal, last one in 2021, Egypt, which you've already mentioned, Nigeria. I think Nigeria should win it just because they always seem to have the best kits.
They're phenomenal kits.
Yeah, I tell you what, from someone that does love a football kit, outside of England, that is possibly one of the only shirts I would ever buy.
That white and green sort of zigzaggy one I almost got.
Yeah, that was a stunning kit. Who would I go for? To be honest, mate, I don't really know too much about the African Cup of Nations. I might actually try and watch a lot more of it this year.
Every game's been shown on Sky Sports. I will say that it's not an endorsement, but that is.
Well, there you go then. So that gives me something to go. I'm gonna go for. Just gonna pick one. I will go for. Let's top of it. Ivory Coast. I'll go for Ivory Coast. You watch her get knocked out in the in the group stage.
I mean, the lineup for Nigeria, Mike, Lookman, who used to play for Everton, is now at Atlanta. He's in there. Victor Osimhen, Samuel Chukwueze, Iheanacho, Ahmed Musa, who had a little spell at Leicester, didn't he? The really quick guy. Frank Onyeka, Awobi is in there. Calvin Bassey from Fulham. William Troost-Ekong who used to play for Watford. You look at it and you go, what? Didn't know half of them players played, but of course they do. I can't see anything past it. I'm going to look up their kit quickly because I just want to know what it is. But would you 10 years ago? Obviously, football, I say, wasn't as prevalent. When you heard of the Africa Cup of Nations going on, there wasn't really much coverage of it, and you might get 3 or 4 players going from the Premier League. Your likes of your Michael Essiens and people like that. And now you look at it and you go, actually, half the players that play in there are playing at the very, very top level of everything. There is a really nice kit, but I don't know if it's... Ooh. It's not as nice as the stripy one, but it's definitely up there.
I'll have a look at that afterwards.
And apparently they've got a... Yeah, I like them. I like them. Maybe there's an investment coming in. Maybe not. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, that's that. I mean, what's the next Premier League game for teams? Or you said we've got a little bit of a break.
Yeah, so we have got a break from. So you've got the Carabao Cup this week, break, and then I think we're back on the 20 something.
Fulham are beating Liverpool.
Oh, good. I'm looking forward to messaging my mate afterwards, and that's not Phil.
Then you think Chelsea lost to Middlesbrough last night, didn't they?
Yes, yeah. Did you see the swipe right at the end? Honestly, mate, I just saw it as I was flicking through Twitter earlier. There's, I think it was like an open goal, and it was proper one of those taxi football sort of incidents. A proper swing and a miss for it. Yeah, we're not playing now to the 20th of January, so we'll get in another podcast before we make predictions.
There are a couple of Premier League games this weekend if you wanna predict them.
Okay.
So Friday night we have Burnley Luton.
That's the replay, isn't it? From when
it was meant to be the first game of the season, I think, wasn't it?
No. This was one a couple of weeks ago where the guy had a heart attack on the pitch. Yes,
that's correct. And then you've got Chelsea, Fulham, Newcastle City, Everton, Villa, and Manchester United, Tottenham. So I think maybe we should go with Man United, Tottenham, Burnley, Luton.
Okie dokie. Give me just 2 seconds. When is the 20th, actually? Oh, yeah, that's ages away.
Friday.
That's next Saturday. Right, so...
Yes, next Saturday week.
I'm just pulling up the template.
I don't know what the scores were that we last predicted. It's been a little while, so yeah, it's a little bit all over the place. But I mean, join in with the predictions by all means. We get 3 points for a correct score. 2 points, no, 1 point. Sorry, what am I doing? 2 points. 1 point for a correct result, and no points for anything else. So if, for example, Burnley Luton, if I say 1-0 and it's 1-0, I get 3 points. If I had said 3-0, I only get the 1 point. And we do a prediction for this lovely trophy that is Mike's. I might give it back to him at some point because he won it last year. But yeah. Well,
right, so what was the game, sorry, that you wanted to predict?
Burnley Luton.
Burnley.
Manchester United, Tottenham. Oh, pardon me.
Okay, so we'll start with Burnley Luton. Luton have actually been playing really well recently. really well. Since the guy had the heart attack. Actually, it was one of the guys I work with is a Luton Town fan, massive Luton Town fan. He's got season tickets. Went to the Championship playoff final as well. I cried, Adam, you bellend. Yeah, so he's no, honestly, he's massive Luton Town fan. And obviously I was having a catch up with him the other day, and he was actually saying that it's been since the guy had a heart attack that the Lutons have been playing well. And I said, I wasn't disrespectful just before you start thinking cynical things. I said, no, I know what I was going to say is it's maybe that the team are kind of rallying, obviously in his absence, trying to obviously prove a point to say, yeah. So I think it's really good, and Burnley, they've obviously still dog shit, although have picked up a couple of wins now. I see this one being it's a cold night in Luton. Cold night in Burnley. I'm gonna go for a draw on this one. I'm gonna go for 1-1.
Ooh, I'm going for a draw too, but 2-2. I do think both teams, Burnley have. I think both teams have played well. I think they've not lost their principles. They've been trying to play how they did in the Championship. I just think Luton have had a better rub of the green. I think there's a few decisions that have not gone for Burnley, and a few times where they've maybe got a little bit overexcited with chances. But yeah, I think this one could be an entertaining game for the neutral 2-2.
Okay, so that moves us on to Man United versus Tottenham. I'll let you take the lead on this one.
Now, Anana's gone. He's out the door. Amrabat's gone. He's out the door. They're trying to shift Martial on. They're trying to shift Sancho on. Sancho apparently is going back to Dortmund, and Martial will stay to the end of the season because he knows he can't get 250 grand a week anywhere else.
Yeah. I want to fight for my place.
Yeah. Do you remember when they signed him and Monaco have got like a £50 million clause if he wins the Ballon d'Or? Yeah, don't think so.
Next Henri, mate. Next Henri.
Yeah, all right. I think that it did pave the way for Mbappe to come through, though, didn't it?
Yep.
So he did them a favour. Did Mbappe a favour. But Manchester United, I don't think they lack quality. Here's controversial 101 coming up. I think they've been unlucky. Martinez has been out injured for a long time. He, I think, was pivotal in leading that line, even though he's only 4'1". I think Rashford's been off the boil, but he seems to go off the boil for a little while. Has a controversy in his life, which he had a couple of months ago, and then he's back on shooting form. I mean, one of the controversies was not a bad one. His controversy was he took on the government and said you should be feeding kids in school. I'm going to do that.
Yep.
While just before that he was rubbish. He had that big controversy. He went on a huge season. So I think he may start to turn a little bit. Rasmus Højlund is getting chances. He's just not putting them away. But that comes down to being young and inexperienced. I think I keep saying it about Chelsea as well. I think they have the ability to just, and it all work for them. That Ratcliffe's now got the green light. He's in the club. There's changes, so there's less question marks. There's still changes to come, but less question marks. But I can't see past Tottenham at this point with what they're doing. I like what Postecoglou's doing with them. I wanted him in at West Ham before he signs for Tottenham. I would forgive him and still have him in, don't get me wrong. But I just think at the minute that relentless attack mentality, going at Johnny Evans and going at Harry Maguire with Kulusevski, Son and Werner, just the sheer pace and trickery they will have within that, I think is going to be too much. I'm going for a 4-1 to Tottenham.
Cool, pace then. I agree. But let's not forget, Harry Maguire was Premier League Player of the Month not so long ago.
I mean, if he plays like his card on FIFA, he'll be an absolute monster. Somehow, I don't think that's going to be the case.
No, I agree with you. I do think Tottenham will win. Pains me to say it as well, because they're now only a point or a couple of points behind us in the league. Obviously with the bad run of form that we've had recently. However, my prediction, I agree, Tottenham will win. I do think United will score, so I'm going to go for 3-1 to Tottenham on that one.
Fair enough. See, here's the thing with Harry Maguire winning Player of the Month, is it's put out to a public vote, isn't it, every month? And I think for the memes, as soon as he got nominated, he was always going to win, just because people think it's funny. I do think he did play a good month, but he went back to what he did best. Heading the ball and putting it into Rose Head.
Yeah.
Don't need to play it from the back. Hoof it. Get rid of it. It's done.
Yep. I completely agree. And I said that as well. I think on this podcast a couple of weeks ago that it's... I mean, it could be that his mum come out and said that people are very nasty and say slagging off their boy.
Well, you got the head the size of a double-decker bus. You're going to get picked on.
Go on, slabhead. No, in all seriousness, obviously we saw him at Leicester during their incredible spell, obviously their title winning season, and he was absolutely phenomenal. But you had the likes of Robert Hoof as well in that back line. But don't get me wrong, he was brilliant at Leicester. It was a big money move from Leicester to United, a lot of responsibility and a lot of pressure put on him, also given the captaincy as well at one point. And I think it just got a bit too much for him, if I'm being completely honest. And I think a move away would be good for him to someone like your West Hams, your Crystal Palace, your Evertons.
Here's the thing. I think the biggest thing for Harry Maguire is he moved for big money, probably a bit more than what he was worth. I don't think he was ever worth that sort of £70 million that he went for. But he moved at the same time as Virgil van Dijk. Now, people say he's the best centre-half in Premier League history. I don't believe that's the case. But he's up there with probably in the top 5, I would say. With his form, he was good at Celtic. He was good at Southampton. He's been good at Liverpool. Has he done enough to be the best? No, I don't think so. But he's performed at a high level for a sustained period of time. And I think he draws natural comparisons to that because they moved for similar money at a similar time to similar stature clubs. And all of a sudden, it's right now there's day-for-day comparisons. Well, Virgil van Dijk's won a Champions League. Virgil van Dijk's done this. Virgil van Dijk's done that. I think if you switched them round and you put Virgil van Dijk in the Manchester United team that Maguire went into, and you put Maguire into the thing, I think the stats, the medals all stay the same.
Yep.
But I think Harry Maguire then has the prestige rather than Van Dijk.
Yep. He
went in at a time where the club's in this turmoil. It's Mourinho's there, but he's not fitting the bill. It's unhappy, and they did win something, and they did come second, but since then the whole club's imploded time after time after time.
Yep.
And he's shouldered a lot of that blame, so I do feel for him a little bit. But in the same sense, he's been paid an astronomical amount of money. And he went to Magaluf and went, I'm Manchester United captain.
Yeah.
So you deserve a bit of stick.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that'll be an interesting one. We'll obviously catch up on that next Monday when we'll recap. I'll go through the fixtures that we had previously before Christmas, and we'll do a big update on the scores, and also predict obviously next week's fixtures when the Premier League comes back for Arsenal. So Yes, that's basically all I've got that I wanted to discuss. Have you got anything else that you want to?
Just a quick mention. It's a few days old now because the world goes round. But Franz Beckenbauer did pass away. So yeah, another one gone. So yeah, it's one of those that it happens with age. Big name in football, but big influence around the world. Yeah, but rest in peace.
Yes, thoughts to family and friends, and the footballing community.
I mean, other than that, I'd just like to finish off by saying, did you hear about the fire? There was a fire, and there's a lady at the top of this block of flats, and Jordan Pickford was walking past, and she's out, and she's got a baby. She says, "Help me, help me, help me." He says, "Well, chuck the baby, I'll catch it." She went, "No, I can't chuck the baby. I'm on the 3rd floor." "No, chuck the baby, I'll catch it. I'm Jordan Pickford. I'm the England #1 goalkeeper." "No, I can't. I can't throw the baby." "No, trust me, I'll catch it." So she gives the baby a kiss as the flames are getting bigger, chucks it off the balcony. Jordan Pickford, he's there. He dives to one side, catches the baby, gets up, bounces it, and boots it away into the bushes. That's all I've got to say about that.
Oh God! And on that note, I've been Mike.
I've been Ian.
We've been FDT-TV. If you have enjoyed what you're watching, please hit that like and subscribe button, share it amongst your friends, and we will see you next week.